Here we are again for another Fly Tying Tuesday. We appreciate you tuning in. Today we got a fun one for you. This is the Hare's Ear Special. So kind of a makeup of a hare's ear fly, a little bit of a soft tackle carrot without the soft tackle, but a cool little nymph pattern. It's got a little bit of flash, a little bit of color to it. It's got a little bit of fluorescence. A lot of good things going on this bug. One that can be really productive for you under the right circumstances out on the river. So we'll spin one up real quick. Not too difficult overall. But a good one to have around. So we are tying a tungsten weighted version of this today. We're using the Firehole copper bead in 1/8 of an inch, also known as 3 millimeters. And we got our hook in the vise. This is the Umpqua X series XC 290BL. So a great little streamer wet fly hook. It's a nice stout hook. It's got an extra wide gape on it, 1X strong. And just a great profile overall, nice big gape there. And then the thread we're using, this is some Semperfli classic wax thread. It's a 6/0, and I like it because of the fluorescent orange color. So we're just going to start a couple of wraps, nice quick thread body down to where we're going to tie our tail in, which is just slightly down the curve on this fly. And that cues our next material, which is some whiting tailing feathers. Using the Ginger Pardo today, which is a nice kind of color complement to the fly that we're tying overall here. And a great tailing material, nice durable, stiff tailing material, the Coq de Leon. Can be kind of hard to find certain colors sometimes, but try to have as much of it as available as we can on our site. There's a couple different options. You can look at the whiting tailing pack and then the Euro tailing packs are both Coq de Leon products from whiting that are great for this type of application. And we just go ahead and quickly secure that right out the back. Just a standard nymph tail there. That's maybe a little long for what I like, but that'll work for today. And then we're going to go back once more and tie in a couple more materials. First one being some wire. Got some nice hot orange wire here from UTC. This is a medium size, so a pretty big gauge. I like it to be very prominent on this pattern, the ribbing. And so we'll tie that in right on the side. And then we're going to add in one more material before we do anything else, and that's going to be some flash. We got some Krystal flash here today, and we're using the Ghost Gray color. So it's a nice color. It's a little different than pearl. It's a little bit darker, but still has kind of that nice green hue to it, a little bit of purple aspects to it. It's a good option by itself, and especially if you can't find pearl, because it's a widely used color. Ghost Gray is a good substitute. So I'm going to take 4 strands of that, and I'm actually going to double that over, and we'll tie them in all together. So a healthy amount of flash on the back end of this fly. And this will actually be the backing material, but I'm going to tie it in and leave it hanging out back until we need to pull it over the top. And just cover it up, walking forward, and then back down so that we can dub our nymph here. And for that is the good old hare's ear. You can use the regular hare's ear. Today I'm using the hare's ear plus from Hareline. It's a good blended material. It's got the naturals, a little bit of synthetic in there, and then just a lot of kind of picky guardy fibers. So you get a real buggy looking fly out of this. But if you do your own dubbing off a hare's mask as well, that works great. And dub up a little bit of a noodle and wrap it on over top of our body. And this will go most of the way forward, covering everything up as we go, sort of trying to keep a nice taper to it overall. Nice juicy caddis style body here. And we're going to leave ourselves just a little bit of room up front for a thorax, about a hook eye's distance here for that thorax. We'll half hitch and get our thread out of our way and rib out the fly. So we're going to move the flash out of the way. And sorry, before we rib, I got ahead of myself. I need to bring the flash forward. So that's the next thing that we're going to do. Just right over the top. And don't want to pull too tight because you do want sort of that crinkled, mottled aspect of this crystal flash. That's why we use the crystal flash, because it does have that texture to it. Kind of want to keep that so tight to the body but not pulled flat there. We'll do a few wraps to lock it in place, and then we can cut out the extra. And now we can rib our fly. So we're just going to work that material, the wire forward, right on up over the top with some nice spaced open wraps, about 5 times or so to the thorax, and then we can capture that and lock it down. Really makes a cool looking fly with all that orange attractor. That tail does want to sort of stick down. That's kind of just a typical aspect of this fly. You could always prop it a little bit with some thread if you wanted to, but this is how I've seen it out there in catalogs and whatnot. And then the last thing we're going to do is add a little bit of a contrasting color, just a little lighter dubbing, some light Cahill. And just a nice, light, quick collar on the front to make that thorax separate from the abdomen a little bit there. And we'll keep that wire showing prevalent, but a little ball here on the front of the fly. And then we're going to make a nice thread collar, sort of a hot spot collar with this fluorescent orange thread right behind the bead with a whip finish. So really kind of a neat little nymph. Again, not too hard to tie, but really gives you some cool, unique differences compared to a lot of those other larvas and nymphs that you might see out there. Can trim it up a little bit. You could leave it buggy too if you'd like. It's kind of the great thing about Hare's ear. But yeah, nice little beadhead nymph, perfect for a dropper rig, great under an indicator. You can throw this on a tight line too. You could probably sneak some lead wraps under there if you needed it to be a heavier bug for you, oversize the bead a little bit. But really, anytime you fish Hare's ear, you're probably going to catch a fish. So it's a good one to have. Thanks for watching.